Good afternoon, and it's a great pleasure to me that I am talking to the person who made my evening in Shiv Ganga Express. I lost my mobile in 50 days, and I was standing near the bookshop in the station, and the bookshop owner told me that buy this book and your mood will be good. And I bought Asur. And when I reached Varanasi, I remembered I just couldn't sleep. I went through the whole book. And I never thought, thanks to Deepak Bodok sir, Ashok Kapoor sir, that I get this opportunity to discuss my questions, not my opinion or the views, questions with you. Aanand Neelakantan is a kind of person and kind of author. I don't think I can relate him to any person in India right now. I don't know the other countries, but in India, nobody writes a contrary view the way he writes. Napoleon once said that what is history but a fable agreed upon. हमने जो मान लिया एक कहानी बन के आई वही इतिहास है. हमारे जो religious books हैं, they are also some kind of history only. So before starting this thing, my first question to great Aanand Neelakantan, who is well known for his Bahubali pre-series, I can tell. Prequel to Bahubali, after that the Bahubali series and the Bahubali movies were made, and everybody knows about Bahubali series. And he has written so many great television series, script also. He has acted also. And the series, there is a series called Taj, the blood, where the Akbar is shown as Anarkali is the mistress of Taj. That series in the OTT. And he has written many other series and some for Doordarshan also. So first of all, I would like to ask Neelakantan sir to say a few words about his work. Before that, along with that, I would like to ask him that what prompted you to write stories from the perspective of the antagonist, the other side of the coin. Aanand Neelakantan sir.
Thank you, sir. I think, unlike your quiz shows, I did not answer in one word, right? I can take a few more. Basically, there are no antagonists in Indian Puranas. There is no concept of antagonist. This concept of antagonist is, I think, a Western import where the stories are seen in black and white, always. Like, they say, Abrahamic religions, there is God versus demon, hell versus heaven. It all works on duality for them. Hell versus heaven and sin versus virtue. For us, it is based on karma and karma bala. But what happened because of the British rule, because of the Islamic rule before that, the concept of hell and the concept of the good versus bad came to us, and the entire stories got twisted. So I thought, why not try to take it to the original one? Like Ravan, the lynching of Ravan, जो दसरा में होता है, lynching of Ravan, Ravan Dahan hota hai, that happens only in a particular geography of India where, and it originated, I believe, during the Islamic rule. Nowhere else Ravan is burned. Most of the big Shiva temples in the south will have Ravan as a murti, or at least sculpted on the huge sculptures. Because Ravan is no one other than Jaya, the Dwarapalak of Bhagavan Vishnu. When Ravan and Jaya and Vijaya were cursed by Sanakas, they were given a choice of taking, there are two versions, one is 100 Janmas, one is 7 Janmas, whichever way you follow, of being the devotee or Bhakt of Bhagavan, or 3 Janma of being the enemy of Vishnu. Even Jaya Vijaya at that time knew that Andha Bhakt banna utna acha nahi hai. So they didn't choose the blind bhakti which many of us exhibit now towards our ideologies, political leaders and all. They chose it wisely. And it was shown as Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Ravan, Kumbhakarna, Dandavakra, Shishupala, or other versions, Kamsha and Shishupala. The three Janmas they took, and it was shown as a Leela, a play, in which it is told to teach everybody about the karma and karma bala. So that is why we find a lot of things which Bhagavan Ram had done. When we look at it through the Abrahamic lens of this is right, this is wrong, suddenly we feel this is what Ram, all the debates which happen in social media, no? Jo Bali ko aisa he mara, tir mara, ped ke piche se chipke. This becomes a kind of how can a God do that? This kind of questions come. How can a God? Because our concept of God is not Bhagavan. These are two different things. How can Ram do the Sita Parityag? These kind of questions rises. When we forget that, it is about karma and karma bala. That is why, even in Mahabharata and Ajaya, which I told, this question comes, if, like television, I also have written a lot for television. I wrote Siyake Ram, I wrote Chakravarti Ashoka, I wrote Sankatmojan Mahabali Hanuman, I wrote the Srimad Ramayana, which was going on in Sony TV. But when you write in television, we try to put it like a very childish, black and white way, good versus bad. So if Mahabharata was that, if it was good versus bad, the Kurukshetra war, Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra, if it was the Dharma which won, then what should have happened after that? Satya Yuga should have come, right?
That brings us to a question from your book, Ajay. After going through the Ajay, the killing of Iravan, killing of Lakshman. Do you know Lakshman? Who is Lakshman in Mahabharata? I think many of you might not be knowing. Lakshman means the son of Duryodhan. Killing of Lakshman and destruction of Khanda 1. Krishna says that एक एक चीज को खत्म कर दो, एक एक प्राणी छोटे छोटे को खत्म कर दो. We feel that why Krishna the God, why there was a cheating in killing Lakshman, the son of Duryodhan, and there was a revenge by killing Abhimanyu the same way, by cheating. So after going through the book Ajaya, we always question कि भाई smartly ऐसा तो नहीं है. It is very cleverly done that the adharma is established as dharma in the book Mahabharata. Very cleverly done. That question arises. I would like to have your take on that.
So the question is about whether it was dharma which won or what is dharma. So Bhishma, when Bhishma says in the Sabha, dharmasya tattvam nihidam guhayam, the concept of dharma, it is hidden in the deep caves of mind. If you take. So if that is the case, nobody is able to define dharma. Everybody is trying to give their own definition of dharma in Mahabharata. So what did Pandavas gain after the war? They lost all their children. Is this the price of following dharma, or was it dharma they followed? Whose dharma? Is it Kauravas dharma or Pandavas dharma? The questions, it's an endless debate. There is a reason, I believe, there is a reason why the great sages like Valmiki or Vyasa, if it is one person or if it is a group of people, that debate I leave it to the scholars. But let us assume the way of belief itself, it's a sage Valmiki or sage Vyasa. They have purposefully put these so that we will pause and debate about what is right and what is wrong. Only, we are not children, right? Only to children you'll have to say this is right, this is wrong, don't do it. Indian sages never infantilized us. They gave the people to think about what is right and what is wrong, and that is the reason why they are purposefully putting events like in Ramayana where Ram has to hide behind a tree and shoot Bali. Why? So it's a dharma sankat he is in. He has to choose one dharma over other dharma. When he is going to the forest, he has to choose the dharma. Jabali questions Ram. Jabali is an atheist, Charvaga minister in Dacharada's, is a Brahmin, and a Charvaki who is an atheist minister in Dasharada's council of ministers. Jabali stops Ram and tells him, why are you leaving to the forest? Because your father could be senile. Your father has given a word to your stepmother much before you were born. What is your dharma? To choose what the people of Ayodhya want. Is that dharma important, or the dharma of you being the unquestionable son of father. Which dharma is bigger?
Well, so you mean to say dharma is also an interpretation. For me, this can be a dharma, and for him, that can be a dharma. I mean, the contrary can be dharma for each other.
Definitely, no. That is why again and again, that is why it is Dharmakshetra in Mahabharata. So Duryodhana's questions, Suyodhana or Duryodhana's questions are equally valid as Yudhishthira's questions. His claim is equally valid. That is how the great story come, and this is for the churning, it's for the mantana, for us to decide what is dharma and act accordingly. So in Mahabharata itself it comes, each of the creatures are acting as per their dharma and doing it. So go look the entire story from Ashwatthama's perspective, you find a different story. For another example which I have not written, Mahabharata, when I had two choices to write when I thought of giving my own interpretation from the other side of Mahabharata in Ajaya series, which has come both in English, Hindi and around 20 languages. I was thinking of another angle which somebody could explore or I might explore. What if the entire Mahabharata was not with Pandavas and Kauravas? It was Panchalas versus Kurus. That's another possibility in Mahabharata which we read through the line. Who becomes the commander-in-chief? It is Dhrityumna, no? It is Dhrityum who becomes the commander-in-chief. It is Ashwatthama goes and kills him. He stays the commander-in-chief of Pandavas always. After Kurus and Panchalas were in fight for generations, but after Drona asked Arjuna to go and bring Drupada, then he makes the Havan, and from the Yajna, that's why she's called Yajna Seni. From Havan, Drishtidyumna and Panchali comes, and it is meant to destroy the Kuru dynasty. So what if the entire war was about, the rest were later interpreted, the entire war was about Panchalas versus Kauravas, where Panchala, not Shakuni, the Drupada, had cleverly manipulated so that these the family, the Kuru, the great Kuru dynasty fight with each other and destroy each other. This is another possibility of Mahabharata. Then what happens to the tale of Dharma? Whose Dharma? Is it Panchala's Dharma? So this kind of possibilities, it keeps on opening up from telling it, when you tell it from various angles. And that is how the great literature churns.
So do you have this possibility is being explored just by interpretation, or there are certain other scriptures which support these kind of interpretation?
Actually, there are a lot of versions of Ramayana and Mahabharata. My latest book, Many Ramayanas, Many Lessons, which during the COVID time, both in English and Hindi, it had come as a podcast in Audible. I tried to list out all the Ramayanas which I had encountered orally, and even with a 500-page book, I would say it has not even covered 1% of the variations of Ramayana available. The next book is same on Mahabharata. It's a vast ocean, and you find that lot of contrarian versions are available. For example, in Ramayana, at least there are people say Valmiki Ramayana is original. But in Valmiki Ramayana itself, there are a lot of references of previous Ramayanas, right?
That is true.
So many
kind of difference which Ramayana and Ramcharitmanas had, or does it have?
It has much more. Different. That's what
Okay.
I said. There are so many versions of Mahabharata, especially in the oral history.
Okay.
So many of them are there, and most of our things were oral, and later only it was written down. Even written down versions, there are so many variations.
Because the question comes to mind because many of us have read Ramcharitmanas as well as Valmiki's Ramayana. But when it comes to Mahabharata, very few have read or gone through Jaya Samhita and Mahabharata. So people know very little about Jaya Samhita.
People, they don't allow you to read Mahabharata at home. That is a belief.
Okay.
No, you are not
Okay.
supposed to.
That may be one of the reasons. You are right.
Whereas Ramayana is read more.
Mahabharata-
Because basically, our ancestors
Yes.
thought the basic difference between Ramayana and Mahabharata is in Ramayana, everybody is good, including the villain.
Okay.
Everybody is good. In Mahabharata, everybody is bad, including the heroes. So that's why they said, don't read. In the first glance, I am telling. So Ram is the Maryada Purushottam, he does everything. Krishna is the Leela Purushottam, he does everything and anything possible. So including the heroes, everybody is bad in Mahabharata from modern standpoint. I am telling there is nothing good or bad.
One of the speaker before our session was saying that there is a Ramayana where is Mahabharata where is Draupadi doesn't have 5 husbands. She has only Arjun as husband. One of the speaker was telling just before this session, do you have any kind of scriptures or novels and any other fiction or some other books which justifies that Draupadi had only 1 husband, not 5 husbands?
Look, that version has come. The version for Karna is the husband of Draupadi also are there in folk narratives. Okay. Karna saves Nagas capture all Pandavas and Draupadi, and Karna goes and saves them. That version also is available. So it's an endless ocean. I think it is like people have been writing on Ramayana and Mahabharata for thousands of years. And like in Ramayana, you imagine anything, that version will be available. Imagine anything, like there are Ramayana where, I'm not telling this to make controversy, I'm just telling it is there, that's all. Like where Sita and Ram and Lakshman, they are siblings of Varanasi, kings of Varanasi and not Ayodhya. That version is available. I'm not saying there's a right version or not, but these are the ancient versions which are available.
People don't know that because I recall that there is a series called Siya Ke Ram. काफी लोगों ने शायद देखा होगा. सिया के राम was the one serial after which many people came to know it that कि राम लक्ष्मण भरत शत्रुघ्न के अलावा उनकी एक बहन भी है जिसका नाम है शांता. That was after your serial. He has written that सिया के राम serial. तो सिया के राम उसी प्रकार से कई बार महाभारत में लगता है when I going to your Ajay book, the पहला scene क्या करता है, भीष्म पितामह comes as a very brutal person, kills everyone, kidnaps Gandhari for the prince, and later on also we in the Mahabharata we see that this Bhishma Pitama always goes, even he has kidnapped the princess from Kashi also, and but treat Bhishma Pitama in a very godly manner. Similarly, Krishna has been doing so many tricks. He has a very bad son, Samba. So, do you think that these kind of discussion and these kind of writing disturb us when we worship Bhishma Pitama or Krishna as God? Do you think?
The purpose of all these versions of Ramayana and Mahabharata is to disrupt. Not just now, right from when Bhas, when he was writing also, he disrupted a lot of people. See, the idea of Indian thought is that it is never a commandment. Not even Gita is a commandment. It's a debate. This is, in every other country, the God descends and gives them an instruction list. You should do this, you should do this. If you don't do this, I will burn you in hell. I will fry you in hell. I will make you tandoor. He gives a list. Right? In every other country, the God has done. He might have given, like in Middle East, the same God has come and given 3 different instruction lists to the people with almost similar but with minor variation, so that they are fighting even now on that minor variations. So in one person, the God comes and tells, you don't eat pig, but and don't drink alcohol, but you can have 4 wives. And he turns to this side, and to the neighbor he says, eat pig, but have only 1 wife. So this kind of instruction it had gone. You are right. Whereas here, even when Krishna comes and shows his Vishwarupa and tells to Arjun, he has another 300 questions on that. Even God is questioned. And after that, Krishna says, I told you the greatest of the knowledge. Now use your logic to do what is right. And then Arjuna does all these things. And in the later part, you find that he has forgotten all these things. So you ask Krishna again. Then Anugita comes in Mahabharata. So Krishna again summarizes it with, it's a shorter summary of the entire thing. He gets even irritated. But again, Arjuna still has the doubt. So it's a never-ending debate, whether it is Upanishad or Vedas. It's a never-ending debate. So the purpose of this kind of versions is to trigger the debate rather than making us just obey. It's not a religion or dharma of obedience. It's a culture of logic and churning of it. And why it is so? Because as per the sthala, kala, desha, the dharma changes. So what is true 3000 years ago may not be true now. What is true yesterday may not be true today.
True.
So you have to use our logic. That's the idea of it.
True. This brings me to one question with your mind, sir. his book, first book, Asur, is said to be the fastest bestseller. It is said to be fastest bestseller. Within weeks, it became a bestseller. Or personal
Maybe
question.
because my name is Aanand Neelakantan. And Ravan was always
Okay,
the
okay.
favorite of Neelakantan.
Okay.
But that apart, see, my idea was, I believe the book previous to this, where I wrote the Asura Way, that's a self-help book. I find that Britishers played a big trick, is what I found out. Maybe people may not agree with me, but I found out that in the last century, Britishers didn't want, after the 1857 rebellion, Britishers didn't want us to fight again. So they propagated that India is a spiritual civilization. Indians are very spiritually oriented people. So you find all the Goras roaming around here and doing yoga. Nothing wrong with that. India is a spiritual civilization. But India is not just a spiritual civilization. India is a materialistic civilization also. No other civilization worships the money. No other civilization has a goddess and a god for money. A goddess like Lakshmi is there, Kubera is there for money. We have, it was always a balanced civilization, but in the last 150 years, it has been propagated that India is a spiritual civilization and a lot of chains have been put on us. So the Asura Way is to highlight the materialistic aspect of Indian civilization.
Well, the Asura Way, please don't get confused with Asur the novel and the Asura Way, the non-fiction. The Asura Way is the non-fiction and Asur is the fiction. Okay, so don't get confused. But for the students, it's very interesting. हम सबको generally पता होता है काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह. ये what do you call it? Asura Way, the contrarian path to success. The contrarian path to success means anger, passion, greed, attachment, ego, envy. वो कहते हैं, you write that these are necessary things to do if to achieve success in your life. This puts us into a fix. All the students, ये बड़ी गलत चीज है, काम, क्रोध, लोभ, माया, ईर्ष्या, बड़ी गलत चीज है. But what you advocate is that to get success in today's life, these 6 vices are very essential to succeed in your life. It puts it into a very dilemma. किसको माने, किसको ना माने? Sir, your take on that.
See, basically, this the Shadharibus, the 6 enemies of human life, that was not meant for the grihasthas like us. That was basically meant for the people taking diksha and going for sannyas. For them, it is not, all these things are shatrus. Not for us, these are enemies for them. For people like us, so that is why the entire Krishna, we have, if you read Mahabharata, we find that Krishna has all these things.
That is true. That is true.
He has all these things. Only thing is that he is not totally, he is not the slave of it. He is the master of it, but he uses all these things. Not just Krishna, you take Chanakya, you take all the successful people in life. The Asura Way I called, Asura has now been, people think it is in a very negative fashion, but I am taking it in the original meaning. So all the emotions are very much important. If there is contentment, a lot of our parents tell you have to be contented. Jo aapke paas hai, usse khush rehna. Nothing could be worse than that for the material success in your life. This is something which you should give to a 75-year-old or a 80-year-old or a 90-year-old, not a 15-year-old.
Yes.
Because if the first man was contented, you will be still living in the caves, right? It is the discontentment which has driven everything. People were not happy with the candle, they invented the light. The people who are not happy with walking, they invented the cycle and then the cars, and now even driving they don't want, so Tesla has come, self-driven one. This is the relentless pursuit of this material pursuit and success, which the West understood 300 years ago, and then the Industrial Revolution happened. Before that, they were also like that. The church was telling them, be the slave of the church. They came out of that with this Asura way, the materialistic way, and then only the Europe expanded and then colonized us. We were always celebrating great temples. Temples, if you don't want anything, why should there be a grand temple? Why should there be a temple like Brihadeshwara, the majestic temples? And that comes from the extreme ambition, extreme discontentment, and saying that I'll make it bigger and bigger and bigger. This is what all the kings did before this madness caught us, and we said that we should be all simple, this, that. First we'll have to achieve that. I cannot tell, Tata can tell, Ambani can tell, Tata can tell, ये पैसे में क्या है? इसमें कुछ नहीं है इसमें. The people like us cannot tell that. We have to first reach that level. Then we can tell. Okay, इसमें कुछ नहीं है, पैसा में नहीं है, कुछ में कुछ हो.
So, very well explained, sir. Now we have only 5 minutes left. I will put the last question. After that, I will take question from the audience. My last question is on a lighter note, sir. Your novel's tagline is "Story of the Vanquished." Story of the Vanquished. पराजितों की कहानी. Story vanquished. Do you intend to write a similar story of the vanquished in light of the current political situation? जो पराजित हो गए हैं politics की दुनिया में. Though all those you have been defeated in the field of politics, current politics, do you intend to write those leaders who have been well defeated in the field of politics? In the field of politics, do you intend to write anything like that?
No, all these things, Ravan's thing and Duryodhana's thing, we wrote after thousands of years. So maybe after thousands of years we can write all those things.
Okay, then thank you very much for that. We have 5 minutes, rather 4 minutes per question. Anybody has a question with Aanand Neelakantan, sir? Anyway, that boy, please give him the mic. Give him the mic, please. Your question. Please come. Oh, yes. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, my name is Joy, and I would like to ask that, as we were enlightened by you, that we have been graced with a grey morality by our ancestors who wrote this mythology for us. I would like to double down on this, and I would like to ask, sir, 2 questions out of it. First of all is why we, the civilization, were graced with this grey morality, and second, what has this impacted and how has this impacted the Indian society through time, or if I may add, beyond time? Thank you so much, sir.
It is said that had Indians read Mahabharata, we would never have faced the invasions and lost in it. We find the last 1,000 years, I did the series called Swaraj in Doordarshan. So we find one common pattern. All the kings, take Prithviraj, all the kings, none of them read Mahabharata or Gita properly, I think, or what Krishna did. They were all fighting for honor. So they are all celebrated as very honorable men, but who got defeated, and the country went under 1,000 years of rule. So this is what happens when you try to learn the wrong lessons from the texts. So Mahabharata, they say, people, the Europeans, made Christ the God, but they followed Krishna. We made Krishna into God and followed the Christ in the way how we are dealing with it.
Okay.
And we ended up here.
Another question, sir, please.
Sir, my question is that in your book Asura, you are promoting Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad. And second thing, you are supporting that we should not be contented. But my way of life is that if you are in the walks of the life, then you have these Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad. They are your boundaries. Because if you are going to break that boundary, then you are going on the illegal path. Because you have to control yourself.
I think again what is happening, the conditioning is happening. Everything, all the thing if you have, you will have the common sense to know that consequences will be there for this action. How much I should break. If I am getting angry, there are different ways of reacting. Anger is not bad. Now I am angry with you. I am not angry, but I am just telling you as an example. I am angry with you. There are different methods of, I can ignore you. I can come and slap you. Maybe you are more powerful than me, you will kill me. So the consequences, the Asura way is using your brain intelligently. That's what Krishna does. Krishna, by the way, in many Puranas is called Asura. Because the Yadus come from Devayani, the Shukracharya's daughter. And in Vedas also sometimes Krishna, Varuna and all are called as Asuras. Asura is not a negative word as such. It is not Rakshas. Asura and Rakshas are different. Rakshas, anybody could be Rakshas. So what you are telling is, will you become a Rakshas? No. I told the Asura way is a smart way of Chanakya, of Krishna and all these things. So you should know the consequences. But ambition is very much important in life.
Sir, there must be a line because these what Tulsidas has reminded of, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad. These vices, these wherever, in every walk of life, wherever you go, these are the vices. You can take Dhritarashtra. If Dhritarashtra did not have that much level of ambition to let his son put on the throne,
Well,
if you can take Bhisma Pitamaha also. Bhisma Pitamaha has got super ego. That ego led, because to be so much.
So what happened to them?
Because if this.
No, I got it, but what happened to them?
But just I wanted to tell that these Kam, Krodh.
No, I will tell you. Bhishma Pitamaha, Dhritarashtra, all their children died in the war.
Yeah.
Right, very bad. Krishna's descendants also died fighting each other.
Well, I will interfere. We will
Right, so
discuss
this
it over a cup
doesn't
of tea.
escape. Whether you had it or not, everybody has this
Time is
problem.
up. There are so
Sir,
many questions.
just 1 minute. Just I want to tell that Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad. There must be some limit. You have to put on at your limit. And second thing, contentment. You must have to be contented because Krishna has promoted. Karmane vadikarestu ma phalesu kadachana karm phal hetu mate. क्योंकि आपका सिर्फ कर्म करने में अधिकार है. आपने अपना कर्म किया, रात को 10 बजे सो जाइए.
Okay, sir,
बहुत
sir.
अधिक चिंता मत करिए क्योंकि फिर वो आप सोने नहीं देगा आपको.
Sir, you
आपको
may be
नींद नहीं
right.
आएगी.
Sir, you may be right, but we will need more time.
No,
Time
he is
is up.
not.
We
He is
need
not
more time
right.
for
But
that.
I don't want to take it into a debate. That's why I wrote the
We'll
book.
return.
You can write back to me.
Last two
You
questions.
are not
sir.
right.
One lady and here, last two questions. Quick question. Very quick question. Question in 10 seconds. Question in 10 seconds. Madam, time is up. So we take only
I don't
2
have
minutes
time
extra.
to make you understand, but you are not right. Is what
Later
I will
on.
say.
Yes.
May
Yes.
I? Sir, when it said if you want to know love, you have to know Krishna. Better you know Krishna. But when I go through your novel, Ajay, I saw Krishna's love towards specifically Arjun and others. He uses means his power that they love me, they respect me, to establish. He manipulates and uses his
Yeah, he
all
does it.
things.
Yes. He wants to manipulate things so that people love Krishna. That is the question.
That happened, and because this is seen from the point of view of Kaurav. So the dharma, when I do it, I say no. Every time you have a
That's
dharma.
right.
When I am writing it from the point of view of Kaurav, then the viewpoint will become like that.
Yes, you are. Yeah, one last question, ma'am. Please, yes.
Sir, namaste.
10 seconds.
Yeah, my question is like, which 2 books you will refer to read apart from yours, like to understand Ramayana and Mahabharata, like your recommendation apart from yours.
Just when you read Mahabharata or Ramayana, just pause and ask yourself. You need not, don't go by what is conditioned. Go sit and ask. Like when I read Ramayana first time, I was thinking, whose life was Asura, how it came? Whose life I can always respect and pray to Ram. But whose life, given a choice, I will take? Ravan ruled all the 14 worlds for 10,000 years. Then fought and died like a king. He had his own private island and private jet. 14 years he ruled. Whereas Ram, Bhagavan hai, but entire life is of suffering. So I will always respect and pray to Ram. But given a choice as a normal human being, I would love to live like Ravan for 10,000 years.
Okay. That's so.
That is the Asura way.
Okay, that's
That's
so
all.
nice. And thank you very much. Thanks to all the beautiful audience here who are so engrossed. Thank you so much, Neelakantan sir.
Thank you.
for
I
your-
know I might have angered and irritated a lot of people, but that's the
And
purpose
we-
of
we-
all the debate in the country. This is
Okay.
just triggering the debate. No,
Okay.
nothing personal, sir.
Thank you so much. We end our talk here.
Thank
And,
you.